Good evening, Malaysia, and welcome back to the Rise Talk Show. My guest today chose to walk out on PKR on May 16th. His reason is that he is disappointed that Najib Razak might just be walking out very soon. Less than 24 hours later though, Rafizi Ramli takes over a brand new political vehicle, and rumours are flying that this was a calculated exit. This comes from the very people from his own ex-party. Joining me in the hot seat today is former PKR Batu Division Chief, student activist turned political controversial figure, Asheeq Ali. Thanks, brother, for coming into the show.
Thank you, Susan, for inviting me.
It's a long drive today, but today we're going to have a very hot takes.
In fact,
all right, so
first podcast for me.
First podcast for you
after
today?
Exiting.
Oh, ex-PKR member.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's start. You cited a loss of confidence in PKR's idealism and Reformasi roots as your reason for walking away. But a PKR leader, Jonathan Vella, sat in the same exact seat and alluded that Asheeq left because of posts and positions. You won the Batu Chief Post in 2025. Were you stripped or denied higher political or GLC postings? What is the case here?
Okay, so Jonathan Vella is a friend. He has not spoken to me before coming to this interview. I believe he spoke to me after that, but that's the narrative that has been put forward, that I left because of the position and posts. Now, I am the legitimate chief of Keadilan Cabang Batu. Okay. I was also the youth chief of Federal Territory, AMK. And I am also a pengerusi MPP. I was a pengerusi MPP for Parliament Batu. Okay. With all these posts, I think I was right in line to get the seat. Okay. And I think I cannot fathom the logic that some people are saying outside that I left because of the seat. We don't even know when is the election.
That's right.
I don't know when did the party even confirmed who is the candidate for Batu. But I left way earlier than election. Okay. And I've cited the reason why I left because I lost trust in the fight that has been put forward by the party now. Okay. There's a growing sentiment of a growing attitude of pragmatism that we need to be okay with this because we are in a coalition with that. So there's a growing sentiment, a growing attitude of that, which I cannot accept anymore, and that's why I left. Again, I'm telling, I could have stayed, I could have fought for the seat if I won. Okay. I won with a clear majority in Cabang Batu in last year, the election. I contested against YB Prabha. Out of 29 candidates I put in my entire Cabang, 27 of them won. Okay. Okay.
That's a clear win.
There's a clear win. This is not a case where there's kepala, tada badan, tada kaki. Is not of that case. We won out of 29 candidates, 27, including the youth wing and the women's wing. Okay. We won everything.
It's a clean sweep.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was right in line. If I want the seat, I can demand for it. I can do a lot of things. I can continue going on until the party decides. But I chose to leave now because I don't feel the party's position right now is in line with whatever I believe in.
Okay, but we did read the newspaper articles, right? There was rumors. There were few other prominent MPs that were eyeing Batu. On top of the existing MP, who's also is looking at the space as well. So while they were saying all these MPs' name, your name didn't come up. Maybe you are just disappointed.
You should look back at the news. I think the reporter actually called me, and I was the one who gave confirmation that certain people wants to contest in Batu. And if we look back,
who are they? If you can name them.
Okay, so The one that were rumored around was the Vice President, Dato' Ramanan, the Sekjen, Fuzia Saleh, and also Wabi Prabha definitely wants to defend the seat. These are all rumors that were going around.
Okay.
None of them actually spoke to me directly and said they want the seat. Of course, none of them.
Okay.
These were all rumors coming from party leadership. But that cannot be the reason that I leave so fast.
Okay.
So so early.
Okay.
I have put forward a lot of work in Batu. You can check my Instagram, you can check my TikTok. The whole 1 year that I've gotten this position, I have worked tirelessly day and night.
Okay.
And I can continue doing so if my sole reason for leaving the party was the seat. But I choose to leave on the 16th of May because I don't believe the pathway that the party is taking right now.
Okay. Alright, so I want to ask you about this. Communication Minister Fahmi Fadzil responded to your exit by saying, semoga terubat apa-apa yang tersakiti untuk dia. Bukan dia ada pun pada waktu perjuangan dulu. Now, that sounds deeply personal, very patronizing. Sounds like you're throwing a tantrum.
Okay. I spoke to Abi Fahmi 2 days straight before I announced my exit. I believe he knows all my frustrations, which I have spoken directly to him, and I hope he in the party he can bring the party back to its original position. Okay, but when YB Fahmi mentioned that I wasn't there during the so-called
early days,
Zaman Getir.
Okay.
He also mentioned I wasn't there in 2004 when PKR only has one seat. But 2004 I was 9 years old. I was in SK3 Dandayadabani Jalan Ipoh, running around the school, playing with my friends. So I cannot be there in 2004. But I was there after the Sheraton move. Okay, there's a lot of people who joined the party in 2018 because we won the government. I didn't.
Okay.
In fact, I was protesting against the education minister back then, Dr. Mazli Malik, who was the education minister for Pakatan Harapan.
Okay.
I protested until he resigned from the post. That was in 2018.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't join the party.
Okay.
But when the Sheraton move happened, I thought at that point of time, nobody had any positions. But I thought at that point of time, this is the right time for me to join the party because we need to bring back this country to the right direction. So I joined in 2021 when the party was struggling after the exit of Azmin Ali's camp.
Okay.
So to say that I wasn't there when the party was struggling is entirely not true. And actually, there's a lot of people now who is in the ministry, who is being the deputy minister of the party, who's becoming the political secretary, not political secretary, they call it Penasihat Khas.
Okay.
Tengku Zafrul and all these people were not there. I have not seen them anywhere since my activism days, since 2015, 2016. Suddenly now they come up. They are all acceptable. But suddenly I am someone who joined in 2021. I wasn't there during the party's hard times. That's entirely not true and unfair for him to say that, but I leave it to him to explain if he wants to.
Okay, alright. Now, you said you joined after the Sheraton move. At that time you are idealistic and you believe PKR was the right platform for reform. Now, where was the exact moment or decision where the PKR compromise turned into betrayal for you, which was a red line?
Okay. Of course, the final straw was when the Najib issue. Okay. I heard a lot of confirmations that there is strong possibility more than before. Because we know that this Najib issue has been coming out since 2022, but now more than before, it is even stronger that the push towards him being pardoned or him coming out of jail was very strong. That was my final straw, but that was not the first thing that made me decide this way.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that happen throughout my journey, which I don't want to name anyone here unless they force me to lah, you know. But there's a lot of red tapes around me at that point of time when I wanted to fight for my people, wanted to fight for my voters. There's a lot of internal issues that has been happening that made me question myself. Even if I have the seat as a YB, I cannot function properly because there's a lot of, you know, you don't do this because this person has supported the party, you don't do this, you don't fight against these people because these people have funded the party. Certain leadership, I'm not saying everybody. This happened to me. Okay. The first time I had a thought of leaving the party, it's during the temple fiasco.
Okay.
The whole temple fiasco. I released 2 videos in my TikTok platform. First is to warn Zamri Vinod and the gang to not do the perhimpunan or whatever they wanted to do in front of Sogo. And the next video I released when the Prime Minister was my president previously in a convention, I think it was Keadilan Selangor convention. He made a very strong remark, you know, saying that against Zamri Vinod and the gang, saying that, you know, don't push my limit, I will put you behind bars. It was a very strong statement. So I made consecutive videos explaining to the public that look, this government will not do anything that will hurt your sensitivity. Okay. But immediately, brother, right next day, or if I'm not mistaken, 2 days later, the Prime Minister made a total 180 degrees U-turn by instructing the local councils to clear all the temples which was not on a registered land. Okay. And the katana I got very frustrated because I put my face to the public to explain and to defend you. I didn't think at any moment that the Prime Minister will flip and flop 180 degrees 2 days later. That was the first time I thought, you know what, this is it. Because I am a person who, if I feel that I need to say something, I will say it out. Okay. And at that, and I value my credibility a lot. Okay. And when that happened, it was a slap to my face. I even questioned my friends, why am I still here? What is happening? Why is, you know, one day you are saying A, another day you are saying B, one day you are saying, you know, we will try to help you. If you remember the promises made by this coalition that about this temple issue, temple land, that enough consultation will happen.
That's right.
You know, a lot of promises were made. But you see, it has been more than 3 years that they are running into power. What have they done since day one? Brother, there was no necessity for this matter to be brought to this attention, to this level. Works could have, everybody knew, உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், எனக்கு தெரியும், எத்தனை ஆலயங்கள் வந்துட்டு they don't have registered land. Everybody knows, it's an open fact.
That's right.
You know, what are the leaders of the party were doing ever since they took power? We initially first took power in 2018, brother. 2018 to 2020 we had 2 years. Okay, I wasn't in the party at that point of time. 2022 until 2026, there's a total of 6 years. Don't tell me you have not done anything that can prevent this from happening. Nothing was done. Suddenly when this issue blew up, nobody can say anything. Why? Because we are not prepared. We are not prepared at all compared to what happened in Perak. If you know, Perak made a decision that no new temples would be built, which is fair enough, until the existing temples are being sorted out properly.
Correct.
Of course, the Malay communities have their dissatisfaction as well. As a leader, you should manage it very well. But what happened here, nobody cared. யாருக்குமே எந்த கவலையும் இல்லை. They didn't do anything until the issue blew up. So that was the first time I thought, you know what, I think it's time to leave the party.
Okay, alright. So, Asheeq, in your viral video with Chili Sauce, right, you dropped a bombshell that nobody expected. You claim that you are quitting PKR because you have insider confirmation that Najib Razak is being released this month.
Okay.
Is this true?
Okay, so the insider information, not just one, few informations from different ministries.
Are they credible?
They are very credible. I cannot name the sources because they told me in confidence. People in power.
Okay.
There was no confirmation as in guarantee that he's going to come out this month.
Okay.
But there was a lot of push being made by UMNO to release him, and the due date was this month.
Okay.
Okay. So the first time I thought that triggered me was when Najib's lawyers actually withdrew his appeal on addendum issues. The addendum simply says, you know, he can be put in house prison.
That's right.
So they withdrew it, I think sometime third week of April, somewhere there. I started making noise since then. That was my first time I questioned myself. Something triggered in me, like, you know what, I'm a lawyer. I know I wouldn't advise my client, if my client actually wants to come out of prison, I won't advise my client to withdraw his appeal on that unless there is a strong confirmation that what he's getting, what is he going to get. But the appeal was withdrawn without liberty to even file afresh, meaning you cannot file it again. That was the first trigger. And then I made my tweet postings, which you can see on my Twitter. And finally, during the UMNO convention, 80 years UMNO convention, the whole convention, I think, was about, you know, Najib has to be with us. We miss Najib. Menteri Besar of Johor openly said, you know, we miss Najib. He almost cried. I don't know whether he cried or not. That they want Najib to be back and all that. That happened, and including, brother, this is what I cannot accept. A deputy prime minister saying that openly in his convention. See, that is a red line for the prime minister and his party. Okay. When the renewed call happened during that UMNO convention, that's when I thought, look, it's going to get even more serious. And I started to investigate, I started to ask around, and there's a lot of confirmation inside the party, outside the party, that, you know what, is going to happen this month, so be prepared. So I was very confident that there's a strong push for that to happen. And another thing, when I make these statements, even the video that you said, Iqbal Chili Sauce, with Iqbal, the editor-in-chief of Chili Sauce, until today, completely silent, brother. There is no denial, there is no clarification, nothing.
No statements from them?
Nothing, zero. Until today, if you can see, nobody actually spoke anything about this. Okay. All I want to hear is, what is the position that, at that point of time I was in the party lah. What is the position that we are taking? This issue, of course, it's the prerogative of Yang di-Pertuan Agong. But for most of our voters, this is a red line.
Of course, that's
so
right.
we have to explain to the people. That's why I tried to get the explanation. Nothing came out. The silence was too loud. And then I made my final decision to actually, you know what, I don't want to be complicit with this anymore, and so I just left the party.
Many people wouldn't understand, right, why you did this. In fact, initially, when I read the news about you quitting, I thought you were just rage quitting and you have other reasons for it. But when I read the backstory of your activism in UKM and the reason, then I start to understand why are you so passionate about this. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Okay. You see, I and my friends and I back then in 2015, 2016, we started a movement of Tangkap Malaysian Official 1.
Okay.
This was heavily dependent, or the opposition back then, who is now in the government, heavily depended on us, all the activists, student activists during my time, to rally the crowd, to rally the public against Najib Razak. We were all being used as an as a medium or as a platform for them to come into power. I myself, of course, my friends also got their fair share of repercussions out of it. I myself, I was suspended from the university.
Okay.
UKM suspended me for 1 semester. I had to fight it in court up until federal court just to sit for my final exam right in time.
Oh.
This was all during Najib Razak's regime.
Okay.
That's why this issue is actually very, very personal to me.
Okay.
That's why I made such a drastic decision. People told me, Asheeq, why not you wait until Najib is out? You know what? I have been waiting for quite amount of time. I was patient enough when I always use we, no longer in the party. I was patient enough when PKR decided to work with UMNO and Barisan Nasional. I was patient enough with that. I was also patient enough when Zahid Hamidi's cases, 47 charges were dropped. Okay, if you remember, the campaign against Khairi Jamaluddin in 2022 was Satu Undi KJ equals to Satu Undi Zahid Hamidi.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, Zahid Hamidi was used as an apparatus or was used as a campaign tool, campaign material to rally the public to vote against UMNO Barisan Nasional, to vote against Khairi Jamaluddin and all other candidates that were contesting under UMNO Barisan Nasional. What happened? His charges, 47 charges, were dropped.
Yes.
It wasn't dropped from the beginning, brother. It was dropped after a prima facie has been established. As a lawyer, usually the cases, the prosecution have to establish the prima facie first.
Okay.
Only then the accused takes the stand to defend himself.
Okay.
So in Zahid Hamidi's case, prima facie was established, means the court was convinced enough that there is a case for Zahid Hamidi to answer.
Okay.
So he has to enter defense. What happened after that? AGC dropped their case.
Yeah.
And until today, they even give no further action to Zahid Hamidi's case. I made a mistake. At that point of time, I didn't trust my gut feelings.
Okay.
At that point of time itself, my gut feelings were telling me, look, Asheeq, this is not right. This is not why you are here for. Better leave. But I didn't trust my gut feelings. You know, at that point of time, I thought, the usual
sometimes you have to make political
conveniences, this and that, for the stability of the party, for the stability of the government. So I bought all their reasons. But I don't want to make the same mistake again. Now I do not want to be a complicit if another Zahid Hamidi happens, if Najib Razak is being released. So that this is not about Najib. Let me be very clear. Najib did what he did. Okay. He had gone through a long years of legal battles. Okay. The viewers who are sympathetic towards Najib Razak, I understand. But this is not about him. Okay. This is about the entire system. I am a lawyer. I have clients who are waiting for them to have their day in court. I have one client in Butterworth High Court who is waiting for 5 years already. The trial hasn't even started.
Oh wow.
Okay. This is not just about Najib Razak, this is about the entire system.
Process of law.
It's the entire process of law. There is so many human beings. Of course, they are accused, but these people are also human beings. The lawyers would know, who are inside, who are in the prison, waiting for time. But these cases, usually what happens in court is so that these cases will be given priority because they are high profile cases, they have to be done fast. So they will be given a priority. The court's time have been used. I would say the court's time have been abused. To give these people the priority. End up what happened? For the case to be withdrawn, for the person to be pardoned. This is an injustice against the entire country. I have clients who are waiting. And one more thing about this pardon. I am not saying Najib shouldn't get his pardon. He has all the rights to apply for his pardon. I would dare or I would challenge the Federal Territory Minister to actually tell the public, how many pardon application is in waiting?
Okay.
How many years? How many hundreds of application, or probably even thousands, is in line, in waiting for their pardon to be heard?
Okay.
But this one man's pardon can be brought forward, heard once already,
Yeah.
and this year apparently they're going to hear it again.
Yeah.
What is so special about this man? Of course, he has been the Prime Minister for 9 years. He has a lot of how to say jasa baik.
Okay.
ரொம்ப நல்லது வந்துட்டு செஞ்சிருக்காங்க நம்ம மக்களுக்கு இல்லன்னு சொல்லல. But there is a principle in law which we say, if you are holding a high position, especially in government, there's principle in case law which says you should be getting higher or harsher punishment, because that will serve as a lesson for the public.
Okay.
The entire criminal system is about curbing the crime.
Okay.
But what happens here, everybody over who is been waiting, normal human beings are waiting for their chance, for their day, but one human being is suddenly getting a big treatment for his pardon to be heard faster, not once, but now apparently twice. This
Okay.
is what I don't agree about.
Okay, so speaking about the pardons board as well, you know, there is the Wilayah Persekutuan Minister sitting inside the board, and then there's also the Prime Minister sitting on the board as well.
Yeah.
Now, today this is the Madani government. If tomorrow Najib Razak ends up getting released, do you think this government is a failure? Because they had the old Reformasi era just on this guy alone.
Correct. If Najib is released, I still hope, Sudan, that they prove me wrong.
Okay.
Okay, I still hope they prove me wrong. I still hope there's a slight light or hope in myself that, you know what, I was wrong. I hope that happens. Because pre-2018, the entire campaign, this one MDB issue, Sudan, if you remember, it started in 2012.
Okay.
2012. I was having my SPM, no, even UPSR in SKC Dandapani. I was sitting for my UPSR. It started in 2012 up until 2022, 2018. This whole issue were being used to rile the people up. You know, the effect is, if this happens, I don't actually care about the party is going to win or not. I don't care if Pakatan Harapan wins or not. But what I care about is people's trust to this entire democracy system.
Yeah.
Everybody were riled up in 2018. I still remember on 9th of May 2018, at that point of time, I don't remember how old I was at the point of time, I rode my car. I gave free rides for people in Segambut, for people in Sentul to go and vote on that day.
Oh.
There was a lot of efforts being done so that everybody goes to vote. People from overseas were flying into the country just to cast their votes.
Yeah.
These were the moments. See, I'm having my goosebumps talking about this. These were the period of time where everybody was riled up because of this man, Najib Razak, and the entire regime of Barisan Nasional, that we need to vote against them.
Yeah.
The whole population were rallied.
That's right.
This is the trust that they put in this democracy system. Everybody believed.
Yeah.
And for the first time in history, Barisan Nasional was defeated. Now, if Najib Razak gets a special pass, okay, or a free exit, now the entire population who placed their trust in democracy back in 9th of May 2018, this is a betrayal towards their trust. Already now, people are tired of politics. The lethargic among our people has been so high that என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, இன்னைக்கு நான் இவனுக்கு ஓட் பண்ணாலும் ஒன்று தான், இவனுக்கு ஓட் பண்ணாலும் ஒன்று தான், எல்லாமே அப்படி தான் இருக்காங்க. இவன் வருவான், அப்புறம் அவன் வருவான், ஓட்டு கேட்கும்போது மட்டும் நல்லா பேசுவாங்க, ஆனால் அதுக்கப்புறம் எல்லாத்தையும் செஞ்சு விட்ருவாங்க. இதை தான் வந்துட்டு இப்போ ஆல்ரெடி மக்கள் பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. But if this happens, they will give up. Now there is frustrations. But I am confident with the people that I talk to. They have not given up. There's still certain hope. But if this happens, so then it is a final nail, not only to PKR's or Harapan's coffin, it is a final nail to the coffin of democracy. People are not going to trust this entire democracy system anymore. They are not going to care to vote.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the disaster that's going to happen to our country when our people give up.
Okay, that sounds fair. You are saying that if Najib comes out, people will jump out of the cliff. But what if it's otherwise? Let's just say Najib is not released. Then what will you do? Will you then apologize and probably go back to PKR? Will you do that?
I will be more than happy if this thing, like I told you, still there's a light hope in me.
Okay, a very faint light.
Very faint light that I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay, because the insights I got was very credible.
And we have been seeing that news coming up in social media and the memes.
Correct.
It does point to Najib coming out, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of memes on Twitter. UMNO is pushing daily.
Yes, right.
Okay, but let's say I was wrong. Let's say Najib don't come out.
Okay.
Will I be apologetic about it? I won't be. You know why? We should have been done with this entire Najib's issue. This is a non-issue. It shouldn't even arise in the first place. Okay. In UMNO convention, they were speaking everything about Najib.
Yeah.
Pakatan Harapan recently had a convention in Johor.
Yes, right.
Okay, I think last Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
That's where they talked about you.
Yeah, but I didn't hear any word
About Najib.
or at least reprimanding the deputy prime minister who was speaking about that. This is a red line that apparently the party's red line, but nobody spoke about that. This issue since 2012, now it has been, I think, close to 15 years. We are still talking about Najib Razak, we are still talking about 1MDB, we are still talking about SRT. It shouldn't be an issue at all. If Najib is going to be released by the court, he still have his option of judicial review. If the court release him, I will be more than happy to accept. Okay. But in this government led by a party, Pakatan Harapan, who riled on Najib's name, this issue of pardon shouldn't arise in the first place. In 2024, Sudan, the Prime Minister made a remark saying he will bring the pardon application of Najib into the pardons board. He made statements suggesting that Najib needs compassion. Why? In 2018, when you riled the entire country, there was no compassion. At that point of time, why? Najib wasn't the Prime Minister. He says, Najib has done good work for the country, so he needs a bit of compassion. These are a non-issue and shouldn't rise in the first place. If I was proven wrong, I will be happy. But I will not be apologetic, because I think I play a small role in at least to have conversation about this ongoing. That you cannot do anything behind closed doors anymore. People needs to know.
Some people, right, will say you're just too idealistic. Now we have Najib. Now 1 man's prison sentence is what you're fighting against, and you are saying, hey, if this guy comes out, this doesn't work. But should the entire government collapse, right, just because of this 1 man's prison sentence? Is that right? Are you supposed to hand this government overseas to opposition just because of this one particular guy? Sometimes political convenience does happen, isn't it?
Now, I don't deny that it is not my party, it is not Pakatan Harapan or PKR who is fighting for Najib to come out. I don't think the Prime Minister wants him out. That I need to give it to them lah. But and I also don't deny the fact that this pardon is the full prerogative of Yang di-Pertuan Agong. But the people needs to know what is the stand of the government today. What is the stand of Pakatan Harapan on this? What is the stand of PKR on this? If you are only going to explain after the thing is done, after after Najib is out or pardon was granted to him, people are not going to trust you anymore. So this is the right time. If you know this is in the pipeline, if it is true that it is in the pipeline, come out now. The Prime Minister don't have to come out. perhaps the deputy president of the party, YB Puan Nurul Izzah, can come out and say about this, but she's entirely silent. Everybody is silent about this issue. Nobody is explaining to the public.
Yeah.
You know?
And why is she silent? As a deputy, isn't she supposed to be the first person
Correct.
to come and stand and explain the
Correct.
party's stand?
I think that one you have to ask her. I also don't know why she's silent. She was speaking up about SPRM case against YB Rafizi. That was 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I still hope that she comes out now and explain to our voters. If it's not going to happen, the people just needs to know what is your stand, because we want to know where your moral compass stands.
Okay.
Are you going to compromise everything? Okay, back to your question, Sudan, about are we going to hand over this country to the opposition just because of this one man? See, this is where the whole problem of pragmatism, or I would say
Political survivalism, huh?
correct,
Yeah.
political survivalism, compromising to the core. Okay, if I am the prime minister today, இந்த முதல்வன்ல ஒரு நாள் பிரதமர் ஆவறதுக்கு சான்ஸ்
கொடுப்பாங்க. மீம்ஸ் பார்த்திருந்தேன். ஓகே, சொல்லுங்க.
நான் அந்த முதல்வன் ஒரு நாள் முதல்வனா இருந்தேன்னா, the one thing that I shouldn't have as a prime minister is afraid to lose my power. The moment you are afraid to lose your power, that's when you will compromise on your principle. And I think right now the entire party, Pakatan Harapan, they are afraid of losing power. Doesn't matter if it's DAP, Amanah, PKR, everybody is afraid of losing power.
Okay.
This is the entire problem. When we start to compromise, that's when this country is going to be doomed. We have been compromising a lot of things. Okay, we have been compromising about SOSMA, we have been compromising about Seditions Act, we have been compromising about a lot of things. We even compromised during Zahid Hamidi's case.
That's right.
What happened at that point of time? There's a lot of compromise that happened. I think at this stage, Sudan, the compromise is the danger for this country, because the compromise happens to save these people's political positions. You think they are doing that to save the country?
No.
I don't think so. What if Perikatan Nasional comes into power? What if Barisan Nasional comes into power? What is important is the principle that a party holds, and the promises that you have made to your people. So if you want to say, yeah, of course they will say, you know, because of this one person, do you want us to have this whole government collapse? To me, and my generation, our generation, even the youngsters below my age, we actually don't care. Okay, we actually don't care if this government was handed over to somebody else. What we care about is the honesty of the leader that is in front of us.
Okay.
If you want to talk about the entire economy and all that, I think anybody can do. You know, you give it to another person also, they can do, because you and I know this country is mainly run by the civil service.
That's right.
Okay, the policy is mainly run by the civil service. Why is the leader there? Is to lead us from one point to another. What is the vision of the leader? So if this entire story about, you know, are we going to hand over this country to the opposition, if it is at the cost of your principle, which is Tamil எப்படி சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா, you know, marwa diri, you know, if it's at the cost of my credibility, my marwa diri, I don't mind losing power.
Okay.
That's why I resigned my Ketua Cabang, my Ketua Pemuda Wilayah. I also resigned Pengerusi MPP.
Okay.
This Pengerusi MPP, Sudan, is a person next to YB to take care of the entire parliament. We work closely with DBKL.
Okay.
I have allowances for that. 3,000 ringgit a month is not small. I resigned everything.
Okay.
Because the moment I realized that I am starting to compromise, that's when I caught myself. I said, look, this is the danger, and this is the same danger that is bringing our country down.
Okay, Asheeq, if for example Najib Razak comes out, do you think PKR is dead?
And without any doubt,
Wow.
it is the final nail to their coffin. You know, unless now they come out and explain to people.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we just want to know our leader, do they actually still have the moral compass that we saw before? Or are they actually compromising to save yourself?
Okay.
You know, I will say to an extent, if they are confirmed and confident that Najib Razak's pardon is coming in line, call for an election. Dissolve the entire cabinet. When there is no cabinet, how can a pardons board sit?
Yeah.
Dissolve the entire cabinet or resign entirely. Leave it to the people, leave it to the palace. Do not be a complicit to this whole thing. Don't worry, the economy will be fine.
That's a very hard stand you're taking right here.
If I am the Prime Minister, I will dissolve this entire government because they say, okay, to me it's a red line. They say it's a red line for them.
At one point.
At one point it was a red line. I don't know if it still is. It is a red line. If
That
it's
is
a red
for
line,
Nurul Izzah, hopefully to answer as well.
yeah, answer, and please, by all means, resign if you don't agree.
Okay.
That's what I did. That's what many leaders are doing right now.
Okay. But of course, your timing of your resignation is also quite neat. You resigned on May 16. A day later, Rafizi Ramli and Nick Nazmi launched a new party, Parti BERSAMA Malaysia. So, are you joining BERSAMA, or are you going to be independent, or are you just going to wait a few more months and then neatly join later on?
I think for now, I will choose to be independent because I do not want to repeat the same mistake I did last time by joining my previous party. I want to actually evaluate which platform that I'm going to choose moving forward.
Okay.
Because like I told you, at the end of the day, I do not want my principle to be compromised.
Okay.
So if there is any party, including BERSAMA, who can be in line with the principle, we can share the same principle, and there is a guarantee that we will not compromise this for any sake, then I'll be on board. Until then, I will not be choosing any political party. I'm open to hearing from everyone, from every parties. But one thing, Sudan, I don't have any confidence that any existing political coalition now is going to work for the people.
Okay.
I will not be joining any political coalition right now with the way that they are doing. I don't have that confidence.
But you are not putting BERSAMA inside that coalition numbers, isn't it?
Because they are new.
Okay.
I've yet to see what they have to offer.
Okay.
And if YP Rafizi wants to meet and discuss, and let's see where it goes.
Okay.
They are new, and there is a lot of hope that I'm seeing. இப்போ தமிழ்நாட்டில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 2 வருஷம் முந்தி தான் விஜய் கட்சி ஆரம்பிச்சார்.
ஓகே.
தமிழக வெற்றி கழகம்னு சொல்லி ஒரு கட்சி ஆரம்பிச்சார். அந்த டைமில் கூட எல்லாருமே இந்த மாதிரி தான் சொன்னாங்க. சின்ன பையன், இவன் ஒன்றுமே செஞ்சதில்லை, இவனுக்கு நடிக்கிறது தான் லாய்க்கி, இதுக்கு புது கட்சி அப்படி இப்படின்னு. ஆனால் கடைசியில் 100 சீட்டுக்கு மேலே ஜெயிச்சாங்க.
ஓகே.
ஓகே. இஃப்
ஆனால் இது சேம் இல்லைப்பா. அட்லீஸ்ட் on this case here, Rafizi was part of the opposition. He was also part of the government. Rafizi launched a lot of grand schemes. What happened? Many fizzled out, right? So there is also track record of Rafizi not really completing what he said. In fact, today Rafizi said this party is a kamikaze project. So for you, don't you think it's a terrible move to jump from an established party into this, I don't know, somebody's pet project?
Okay. Of course, YB Rafizi has his own setbacks. He was a minister, he was in the party for so long. But one thing I was been saying before, and I'm saying it now, one thing I appreciate is someone's or a leader's honesty.
Okay.
He basically come and said, look, I know I'm not perfect, but I think I'm doing the right thing. He exited the party. Actually he resigned from his minister post. I know for a fact that the party didn't want him to resign from the minister post. I know that people were convincing him to stay as a minister.
Okay.
யாராச்சும் அந்த மாதிரி செய்வாங்களா? ஒரு மினிஸ்டர், ஒரு பெரிய காடி, ஒரு டிரைவர், 4 ஆஃபீஸர், போலீஸு எஸ்கார்டோட சுற்றிக்கு இருப்பாங்களா? அந்த அந்த ப்ரிவிலேஜை வந்துட்டு யார் விட்டு கொடுப்பா? ஆனால் இந்த மனுஷன் விட்டு கொடுத்துச்சு. ஸோ தேர் something new that we've not seen before. Just because what happened during the election of the party. And the position in the ஆள் விட்டு கொடுத்துச்சு. So and now what he is doing, he resigned as a parliament member. He did not repeat what Azmin Ali did or what the rest of them did who left the party to stay as a parliament member and to continue enjoying the benefits. The moment you don't agree, to me it's very simple. The moment you don't agree with your party, leave. Don't stay just to, like I said, compromise on what they are doing. I cannot compromise on my principle. I leave. I also resigned. He also resigned his member of parliament post. So that's what I appreciate about what they are doing. Now whether this is you're saying as though I'm going to join Bersama tomorrow.
No. I understand.
In fact, I know
the timing just looks very
so if
very
tomorrow another small party is built up also. Now whether to join from an established party, if I join the kamikaze movement, let's not forget PKR once upon a time was a kamikaze movement. 2004 only one seat. What in 2008 in the span of 4 years we got how many states? Almost 5 states we won. So don't underestimate the power of the people. This is the message I'm giving to those people who are ridiculing Bersama and YB Rafiz's effort. Don't underestimate. You don't know what can happen, because once upon a time PKR was a kamikaze movement because of a man who was expelled from UMNO and who was expelled from the Deputy Prime Minister's post. PKR was formed.
So you say that as a badge of honor, resigning from the ministerial position, resigning from the MP seat. But there are some PKR quarters who are saying that is actually an act of betrayal, right? People voted you in to become an MP. There was a lot of cost there, and then people believed the hope and brought you to become a minister. Again, the same thing. Simply leaving that positions is an act of betrayal for the voters, for the members of public who trusted you. So which one is this? Is this a betrayal or is this just following your principle?
So then I think the betrayal would be when you are no longer in line with the party, when the party is no longer in line with your principle, but you still compromise and stay on. See, for example, myself, I was voted in as a Ketua Cabang in Batu. 946 voters voted for me. Some people are saying even this is a betrayal.
Yeah, of course.
Even this is a betrayal.
Isn't it?
They say it's a betrayal, but let me tell you, people voted for who I am, for who I was, and who I am still now. And they voted for Asheeq Ali to be the Ketua Cabang. And they know, my voters know who am I and how and what principle I believe in. If I continue to stay in a party which is directly betraying the people's trust, which is directly backtracking to their promises that was made to the people, I think I'm doing a betrayal. But just because I leave a party, because I'm not in line, I don't believe in the party, I don't think that's a betrayal. Come on, this is a political party, this is not a religion. Why are they acting as though people are leaving their religion? Nobody is leaving anybody's religion now. Nobody is converting to whatever religion. This is a political party. Everybody have their right under the federal constitution to participate in whatever association that they want.
That makes sense. Treat your leader like a leader, not like a god.
Correct.
Who can't be criticized, who can't be...
This is another thing that this Malaysian politics need to stop. There needs to be an entire generational shift, so that for so long we have been stuck with 1 or 2 or 3 individuals in different parties. I'm not just talking about PKR. In PAS, in UMNO, in Bersatu, these all guys were born pre-Merdeka, Sudan.
That's right.
even before Merdeka they were born, but we are still stuck today.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
70 years. I think we are approaching 70 years of Merdeka
That's right.
next year.
Yeah.
And we are still stuck with these people who were born pre-Merdeka.
It's still speaking about tin mines and
Correct.
and whatnot. Yeah.
Pre-Merdeka, these people were born, but you know, I know that today the median age for the population, I'm not talking about voters, the population is 31 and below.
Mhm.
When Reformasi happened, I was what? 1998. I was 3 years old.
Okay.
Do I know? Do I even care? What more? The youngsters, the Gen Zs, the Generation Alpha, you go and tell to them about Reformasi, you see if they are going to listen or not.
Yeah.
We need an entire generational shift.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I said this current political parties, whoever the current coalition that we have is not going to work, because everybody's leader, okay, that they all are so-called worshipping to, I use the word worshipping, but not in the true meaning,
Yeah, I understand.
are those from 70 years old, 75 years old, 78, 79,
Up to 100.
Correct. So why are we stuck? Why do I need to be stuck with an old man who was born pre-Merdeka and you are supposed to dictate my life? What more the generations after me, who doesn't even care about what happened to you?
Yeah.
What we need is a radical change in this country.
Okay.
So the first thing that needs to happen, exactly what happened in Tamil Nadu, Sudan, a generational shift.
Okay.
This entire political coalition who's still having all these dinosaurs sitting on top, they should go away.
Okay. Talking about generation shift, yeah. Mahasiswa Keadilan leadership dissolved recently, and then we also saw a frenzy of people who were posting about their resignation letter this past week on Threads and Facebook. I do not know whether you noticed that or not. It's obvious the youth are starting to now take a stand on this issue. I want you to be very brutal and honest with me. Has PKR became what they say they were fighting against, an elitist party? What do you think? And is it all about just saving Anwar and keeping him as a prime minister?
Yeah, I think there was only two goal for PKR. One is putting Anwar as the prime minister. Number two is Reformasi movement and all the promises.
Okay.
They have backtracked about this Reformasi promises. I don't think anybody will believe this promise anymore. And what you are hearing now from these people are, we need to put Anwar for the second term for him to continue this Reformasi movement.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the only goal now is to put him as the prime minister. I don't think the party has any other goals. Okay. Yes, to answer your question, I think last time when I joined this party, it wasn't about elites. Everybody were principled. Those who joined the party, they believe in the cause. But now you see people like Tengku Zafrul, who was already in all the other governments before. The only minister who survived all three governments was Tengku Zafrul.
Yes.
Now he's a special advisor to the Prime Minister. Can you explain to me, can anybody else explain to me what is the relevancy of this appointment? If you remember, there's a lot of videos where the Prime Minister himself campaigned and said if he is the Prime Minister, he'll make sure there's no more Tengku Zafrul in the cabinet.
That's right.
But you know what happened? After the cabinet, they still retain him as a special advisor to the Prime Minister.
Correct.
Because why? He's an elite, and you see the ministers who's sitting. Okay, if you see the ministers, the level of leaders that they are there. This is a group of elites who are living in their own bubble, who don't know what's happening on the ground.
Okay.
You know. So I think that's exactly why I left the party. This has derived far away from what we usually were back then.
Okay. So let's just talk about GE a little bit, if it happens, right? Anytime soon. On the outside, we have Barisan Nasional, who's aggressively attacking, On the other side, we also have Perikatan Nasional, who also have a very serious base of voters for them. Internally, I think Bersama in a way looks like it's going to be PKR 2.0. Does this mean, right, PKR will have a very tough time come next election to basically keep themselves in power?
No, I think even without Bersama, it's already a tough time.
Okay.
So it's already a tough time before Bersama was formed. So if
But that's not the case when you listen to what those people, the leaders, are saying.
that's why I say they're all in their own bubbles. They
Okay.
don't know what's happening on the ground. Happening on the ground?
Do you think their heads are all stuck in the sand?
Correct. You and I know what's happening on the ground. People lost their trust. Okay. So with Bersama now in the picture, we have yet to see what is the effect to the election.
Okay.
But rest assured, I think what Bersama is offering is a new hope to the people.
Okay.
You know, and I think that will have a great impact. Again, I'm telling my ex-colleagues, do not take Bersama lightly. Do not ridicule them. Please be prepared. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying. I'm saying this as someone who's outside of Bersama. I'm not inside. I haven't even met YB Rafizi until today.
Okay.
Not even once.
Okay.
I've never spoken to him. From the perspective of a third party, I'm telling, don't take them lightly.
Okay, all right. In your resignation statement, you specifically promised that whatever your next political decision is, whether it's an independent or as a political outfit, you'll continue to do your work and service in Batu as a local bond. Now, let's just cut through all this. Does this mean that we'll see you stand as a candidate in the next parliament election in Batu?
If you ask me, that was the whole reason why I joined politics, because I believe that as a parliament member, I can serve my people, I can voice out for my people in Batu constituency. This is entirely why I entered. So I won't be I won't feel embarrassed or ashamed to admit that yes, I want to contest.
Okay.
So what is the problem if I want to contest?
Yeah.
YB Prabha once contested as an independent who was 21 years old, who were only in the first year of law school, contested as an independent.
Yeah.
His luck, he got it because Tian Chua was not accepted as a candidate.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me accepting or saying that, I want to contest?
Okay.
So I'm telling you now, I have all the intention to contest in the election in Parliament Batu. Whoever or whichever platform it may be, I have to decide in future, but I am not running away from Parliament Batu.
Okay. Now, on that, let's just say if Bersama, okay, just an example, or any other alternative platform, political party, offers you a ticket to stand in Batu, what is your threshold? What is your condition for them? Knowing that you have certain principles, what will be your conditions for them to join that, basically?
To me, as I have been saying, one, we need a political party that is entirely honest to the people, because the level of trust right now is very, very damaging. We need it. We need honesty, and when we promise people or when we tell people this is our stand, this is our principle, we shouldn't compromise on them. Any political parties that I'm going to join after this, I have to be convinced that they wouldn't be afraid of losing power. They would be brave enough to make brave decisions, even if it costs them their seat. Then I think I would agree with that political party. Until then, I don't think I will join any political party.
Thank you, Asheeq. Thank you for not holding back today. You spoke about a lot of things today. We spoke about the reason behind your resignation. You spoke about your aspiration in Batu, and you also spoke about a very startling revelation about Najib Razak that people have missed the boat on. Of course, for everyone else who's watching in the home, I think this is where the real debate starts. Is Asheeq really did jump for positions, or did Asheeq really jump for, or Asheeq exited because of his principles? But as where I'm sitting with you, I think you are very true to your principles, and I believe that people like you should really come up in our parliament.
I think I just want to be a honest politician that believe in my gut feelings, and I don't want to be someone who will be afraid of losing my power. My action speaks about that.
Okay. Any last words to our friends, maybe your ex-colleagues as well in party?
I think not to my ex-colleagues, but to the people out there, to the voters, நம்ம மக்களுக்கு நான் சொல்கிறேன், I know everybody is tired. I was tired. I am tired. The lethargic, the feeling of tiredness எல்லாருக்கும் இருக்குது. பட் இந்த நாட்டுக்கு நம்மளை தேவை. This country needs us. This is not the time to give up. Whatever political party that you want to vote for any political party, but make sure that political party does not tell you to compromise on what you believe in. When the compromise happens, that's when this country is going to our downfall. என்ன சொல்கிறாங்களோ அதை அவங்க செய்யணும். இதனால் செய்யலை அதனால் செய்யலைன்னு இதெல்லாம் இனிமேல் நம்மள்ட்ட வாசிக்க முடியாது. அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம இருந்தால் இந்த நாடு நல்லா ஒரு இடத்துல முன்னேறணும். அவ்வளோதான் நான் சொல்ல விரும்புகிறேன்.
Asheeq, that's a very good ending speech. And with that, thank you so much, brother. I really look forward to seeing you in Parliament soon. And maybe before that, again in this podcast.
I want to see you in Parliament also then.
Probably as a video guy.
Video guy. I want to see you as a Parliament member also then.
Thank you.
I hope to.
All right. Okay. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Right. To the people, please do like, reshare, and also probably share this conversation to your friends around. That's it. Thank you, Malaysia. To the next one.